Hi there, I'm Neil Gordon. Insurance companies have access to top attorneys when determining how to settle a claim. Now, if you feel your insurer just isn't playing fair, could be time to seek some legal advice of your own. Has your insurer encouraged you to sign a quick settlement for your car accident or personal injury claim? Has your insurance company canceled your policy or raised your premiums after you may have gotten sick? And has your legitimate claim been delayed or denied? If you're tired of fighting the insurance company, we invite you to give us a call. We're going to take your questions live. The telephone number is up on the screen. We just ask you to try to use a landline or mute your television if you can. Hey, here's what's coming up for the rest of November. On the 13th, we'll be talking divorce and child custody. Then on November the 20th, if you've been hurt at work, you want to tune in for workers' comp. And on November the 27th, slip and fall injuries. Joining us this week from the Vic Hawk Law Firm is Vic Hawk. Happy to have you back. You were
happy to be back. I missed y'all.
Off on holiday and then fighting the good fight trials
That's
another
right.
week,
That's
right?
Came right back from holiday to a trial, but it was fun. It was a good experience down there in Savannah. Got a good result, and clients happy. I'm happy, and I'm back.
And you're very experienced fighting the insurance companies. Listen, we all have insurance, but we really don't know how to navigate the situations when we kind of get put off. So we're going to try to deal with that tonight. Absolutely.
We're going to help you to understand what you can do in the event that an insurance company is not acting in good faith and dealing with you. As I've tried to do all along, I've brought along a great lawyer to work with us tonight, Sam Nicholson. Sam Nicholson and I grew up in the Augusta area, graduated from high school at the same time, and ended up in the same law school, went to law school together. Sam is a lawyer that's had tremendous success in our community, representing individuals who've suffered the trauma of bad faith by an insurance company. He's been practicing here for over 30 years. He's just been named this year one of the super lawyers of Georgia. Sam, can you explain to our viewers a little bit about liability insurance, what's available to protect families that are injured, and then what we can do in the event the insurance company acts in bad faith?
Well, thank you, Vic, and thank you for having me here tonight. When a person is involved in a car wreck, the first thing they usually do is try to get their car fixed. And that has to deal, then the insurance adjuster will call and then try to negotiate with the person to try to get a settlement for their property damage. And that can be somewhat tedious because a lot of times the insurance company will not offer what the value of the car. And so therefore you'll get to going back and forth and trying to negotiate with the insurance company. Now, the insurance company have people that work for them that are professionals in this business. And they are not going to pay you anything that they don't have to pay you. And they're going to try to get out for the lowest possible way they can. Not all the times they do that, but a lot of times they do. So what you need to do is to go out, try to find out what your car is worth, and it's the fair market value of your car. It's not just what the insurance company says that your car is worth by looking in a blue book. You can go to a dealer and ask a dealer, say, what is my car worth? And that is really what they're supposed to pay you. Then if you're injured in this same wreck, then you get into dealing with the personal injury, and that's really where I think you need the professional services of an attorney to help you in negotiating what's a fair and just compensation for your injuries. And there are a lot of factors that go into that, such as your medical expenses, any lost wages, your time out of work, the nature and severity of your injury, and any permanent disability that you may have as a result of this wreck.
And Sam, you may be very helpful to our first caller because that's the very same situation going on. James, we thank you for your patience. You're calling us from South Carolina tonight?
Yes.
Okay, exactly what happened as it related to your vehicle?
What happened, I was getting out of a vehicle, and you know how you open the door and they usually stay open? But this one didn't. It came back on my leg, injured my right leg.
And let me ask you, James, what was the extent of the injury?
A lot of bruising, fractured right leg.
James, what you may have is a personal injury claim for products liability is what you're talking about, where you have a situation where the you're in your own vehicle and the door closes improperly and causes you injury. The problem with those kinds of cases involving products liability are that it's very expensive to pursue. And unless you have a serious permanent injury, it's just not going to be worthwhile to pursue. If you had some Medpay under your policy, you could pursue that. But you really need to consult a South Carolina trial lawyer concerning that to know for sure what you can do.
And to the other side of the river now in Hepzibah, where Charles joins us on the telephone. How are you this evening, Charles?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, just fine. What is your question tonight for our attorneys?
My question is, how long can the insurance company delay paying you?
Good point, Charles. The insurance company cannot just go on and on and on and keep delaying and delaying and delaying. Georgia law provides in a lot of circumstances that if they don't pay you within a certain length of time, then they are subject to paying you penalties up to 50% of the value of your loss, and attorney's fees in the event that you have to take them to court, go to trial, and then they are found that they were unjustified and acted in bad faith in not paying you. So there are remedies you have when the insurance company just keeps telling you, I'll get back with you, we're still investigating, those kind of things. And those things do happen fairly often.
And our third caller of the evening, David, joins us. David, what's your medical insurance issue this evening?
Well, this is just one of those things that I think that the general public doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I recently had an accident, head injury, wasn't wearing a seatbelt, went across the vehicle, struck my shoulder, injured shoulder. I had 3 vehicles with the same insurance company. Found out that I only have $1,000 of medical coverage for myself in the vehicle. I had thought that $25,000 was what I was insured for, and that's not what I'm insured for. It's what anyone who's injured in the vehicles is, covered for. Now I'm looking right now at over $1,500 in legal or in medical bills for myself, and I'm looking at another bill that'll come in from the doctor who sewed me up, and a radiologist who's fed the X-rays for my shoulder. And I just think that a lot of people don't really look at it about the medical pay. They simply look at the liability figure, and it's something that I think everyone should be made aware of. Look at what you yourself are insured for, because right now I'm out of luck.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
That's a very good point. Medpay pays you automatically, whether it's your fault or not, for the damages that you have, a medical expense that you have as a result of a collision. Now, most people don't buy Medpay, but you can get up to $5,000, or maybe more than that, maybe up to $10,000 worth of Medpay. But you have to really ask your insurance agent for that. I've found in my experience that insurance agents are not apt to sell Medpay, because most of the time they say that if you have health insurance, your health insurance will cover any of your medical expenses that you incur as a result of being injured in a car wreck. But I tell you, in conjunction with that, I think people should be aware of uninsured motorist coverage. That is the best insurance you can buy in an automobile situation for the money, because that covers you in the event that if the person that hits you and causes you to be injured are not insured at all, or are not insured to the level that will adequately compensate you for your injuries. So I want to really impress upon people to look at really those 2 things: the Medpay coverage that you have on your vehicle, on your liability insurance, and also your uninsured or underinsured motorists, which you can buy in an amount that is equal to the amount of liability insurance that you purchase on your vehicle. Now, as the caller said, the liability insurance only covers the people that you hit and where you caused the wreck. And then your insurance company then provides coverage for those individuals. That does not cover you to that limit. So that was a very good point that the caller made, and I would, again, encourage people to look at that coverage along with their uninsured motorists.
And when Sam talks about the uninsured motorist coverage, get the underinsured, UNDER insured motorist coverage. That provides you the best protection. So say, for example, if you got $100,000 in medical bills, the person that ran into you has $25,000 in coverage. If you just get $25,000 in uninsured motorist coverage, you really don't have any extra coverage. But if you get the underinsured coverage, and the agent, your sales agent will offer that to you, but sometimes they don't really explain it to you. If you get that underinsured coverage, you can stack that on top of the liability coverage. So always get that uninsured motorist coverage.
And before we head to the break, the both of you have been practicing for 50 years between the two of you.
Almost 60.
Almost 60, right. Anyone ever come to you and say, could you just review this insurance contract? Could you make sure everything's okay? Has that ever happened?
Oh, all the time. There's a lot of fine print in an insurance contract. And a lot of times you are provided coverage in one part of the policy, but in the other part of the policy it's taken away from you. So you really have to read these policies and look at them closely, and there are a lot of lawsuits filed over insurance policies.
Yeah, the big print giveth, the fine print taketh away.
That's right.
That's the lesson. Now, we want to take more of your telephone calls. We ask you to call us on our hotline at 803-442-4551. Our topic tonight, insurance. Stick around. You're watching News 12 Law Call.
When it comes to divorces, Georgia is an equitable distribution state. This means that the division of property and debts between the divorcing parties should be fair and equitable, but not necessarily equal. There is no fixed standard to divide property, so each case will be decided on the facts. Generally, property division for a short-term marriage is pretty straightforward. When few or no joint assets have been accumulated, the tendency is to unwind the marriage. This means giving back to the husband and wife what each of them brought to the marriage and then dividing up the assets and debts the parties have accumulated since then. The longer the marriage, however, the more difficult this unwinding may be. For a long-term marriage, judges will typically begin with something like a 50-50 division of the estate. A judge has the freedom to depart from that 50-50 standard, and sometimes fairly dramatically, depending on the circumstances of the divorce. I'm attorney Melissa Detchmindy of the Vic Hawk Law Firm. Back to you.
Thank you, Melissa. We're rejoined by attorney Vic Hawk and also Sam Nicholson, an Augusta attorney. And Sam, Mary from Augusta has a question for you. Mary, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Super. We understand this is related to your car title. Explain briefly the situation.
My husband passed away, and he had a Lincoln, and I decided I wanted something smaller. So I sold his Lincoln, and as it is in Richmond County, I kept the tag. So when I found a little car that I liked, I went to the lady and I bought it, and I told her I wanted her to give me a handwritten title, bill of sale, from her to me, and I called my insurance company and picked up on the policy and gave them the new VIN number for the new car and got the paperwork sent to me, and it went down to the tag office to get the tag. And they said all my paperwork was fine until they looked at the back of the title, and the woman had written her name, and the date on the back of the title is 5 months before I actually bought the car from her. And she said she did it because she thought she had already got the sale gone through for somebody else. And I said, well, I got a bill of sale from you that says I bought it in October, but the back of the tag says, the back of the title says that I bought it from you in May.
Okay, Mary,
but maybe I can straighten this out.
Yeah,
well, the
so
tag
Mary,
office said they won't let me.
Mary, just to crystallize it, you're having trouble getting insurance, right? Is that the issue?
I'm having trouble getting. No, I got insurance. It's the tag office that's giving me the runaround.
Oh, okay.
Can you go back to the lady that you bought it from and just have her do a corrected transfer of title? And you can maybe get someone.
She is no longer in this country.
Out of the country. Wow.
Right.
One thing you could try is you can file an affidavit of correction, and then the affidavit correction say what happened, and more particularly with regard to the lady that's out of the country, explain the nature of it. And the other alternative is there's a company there on Columbia Road, an insurance agency that can give you a bonded title. It only costs $100 because of a problem like this, and you can get your title that way as well.
All right, and one last quick question before the break. Phoebe from South Carolina, are you there, Phoebe?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we understand your son had braces done in Augusta. What happened after that?
Okay, well, he got his braces put on like in August, and well, he started back in October of last year, getting the treatments and everything. So we had to pay $140 then. When he got his braces in August, we had to pay another $140. Then, and in September he got his braces on, so we had to pay $140 then $140 again for October. And I've been trying to talk to the where he got his braces at about the insurance claim, and they're giving me the runaround, and they're telling me that it's taking longer than expected for them to file the claim. But if he's been receiving treatments or whatever, they should have already have filed a claim because he started back in October. And they're telling me that I still have to pay the $140 until the insurance claim kick in, and then it would drop back to $120. And then when I called on last week, the young lady was like, well, if it's a problem, you need to file a claim yourself with the attitude. And I just need to know what should I do about it, because we're constantly paying $140 for my son to continue to get treatment and for his braces, but they'll act like they're not filing a claim. And when we call the insurance company, they said they don't even have a claim filed on my son for his braces. Okay.
Well, thank you, Phoebe. Gentlemen?
Well, I think, Phoebe, the problem that you have is you don't have the provider filing the proper paperwork. You can either change providers and check in advance to make sure the new provider or new doctor will file the paperwork properly, or you can make a written demand that they do so within X number of times, or you'll stop paying. Of course, then you're going to have the conflict as to whether they're going to provide the service. Common sense thing to me would be to tell you, switch dentists, because the one that you're dealing with now is apparently not being fair to you.
Or she could file the claim herself, with the insurance company, just to get the ball rolling to see if they'll go ahead and pay it without the provider actually sending the claim in.
Good advice indeed. We'd like to take more of your calls after we take a time out. The phone number is 803-442-4551. You're watching News 12 Law Call. Thanks so much to attorney Sam Nicholson for appearing tonight on behalf of the Nicholson Revel Law Firm in Augusta. The phone number is 706-722-8784 if you have a question off air, or online at nicholsonrevel.com. You can always reach Vic, Melissa, or Reed at the Vic Hawk Law Firm on Telfair Street in Augusta at 706-722-3500, or online at vichawklaw.com. We have a few callers waiting, talking again about insurance issues. Our first caller on the Georgia side of the river. How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you.
Super. We understand you have a long-term disability insurance question. What is your question?
Well, the insurance company, I paid this disability insurance at work. And when I became disabled, they picked up and they started paying without any problems. They never said to me that I would owe them money in the end. Now they sent me one record saying that I owed them one amount, and now a few days ago I got a letter saying that I owe them 3 times that amount.
Okay.
You can ask a question.
Yes, ma'am. Did you put in for Social Security disability?
Yes.
And did you get awarded Social Security disability?
Yes.
What happens there is that when you have long-term disability insurance through your employer, they will pay you, but then there is a provision in those policies that say that in the event you receive Social Security disability benefits, you have to repay the long-term disability carrier the amounts that they have paid up until the time you get your Social Security disability. Now, that's by contract, and there's a real question as to whether or not you are legally responsible for having to pay them back, because a disability insurance company cannot encumber government-provided benefits from Social Security. But what they will do is they will deduct from your future payments, your long-term disability future payments, the amount that you have received from Social Security on a pro rata basis, on a monthly basis.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Sam. Time for one more quick caller. Lisa from Augusta. Can you hear us, Lisa?
Yes, hello?
Oh, okay, yes, Lisa. Go right ahead with your question, please.
Okay, I have a niece who was 16, and she was injured in an auto accident, and it was from a DUI driver. When she was getting out the car, it was parked, and the car came by and hit her. Okay, now my question is Medicaid is already paying for all her injuries. How can she get compensated for everything? You know, when her lawyer's saying for her to get all the bills together, her doctor bills.
Okay, sounds good.
Good
Lisa,
question.
we have about 30 seconds.
Yes, the insurance company who insures the drunk driver, their insurance should pay all your medical expenses, your lost wages, and your pain and suffering, which is something that you may need the help of an attorney with to get the fair and just compensation she would deserve in that situation.
Well, I know a couple of good ones that
That's
she could call on. Sam, thank you so much for your time, and
Thank
Vic,
you.
as always, we appreciate it. Wonderful callers tonight as well.
Yeah, and we're happy to help all these people on a contingent fee basis, and we thank y'all for calling.
That's
It's been
right.
a great night.
And next Sunday, a divorce, child custody, and child support issues. Have a wonderful work week ahead.